Yes, welcome once again to Beatle University. I'm Professor Moptop. As always, it is a thrill to be here talking about my favorite thing to talk about in the entire universe, which is the Beatles. Thank you, as always, a million times over, each and every one of you. This week we're going to talk about something that a lot of people spend a lot of time talking about, and that, of course, is the Let It Be sessions. Now, although there is 8 hours of footage from the January 1969 sessions, which comprise the Get Back documentary, there's still quite a bit to talk about in the Get Back / Let It Be sessions. You're going to be getting audio on parts 3 and 4 of the 8-part series that I did, all about the Let It Be session. Part 2 talks about the plans that they had and what they were initially intending to do, which was to write and record a whole new album on the spot as they were being filmed. Now, they went to Twickenham Film Studios to take care of all this, and while they were there, it was just not fun for them. It was early in the morning, it was very, very cold, it was a big, huge room, the sound wasn't fantastic, they weren't having any fun. Now, Yoko Ono was there, and she definitely was a distraction for John Lennon, but there was a lot of other things going on at the time that it wouldn't have mattered if Yoko was there or not. Now, Paul was getting a bit bossy as he was trying to keep things together, keep production moving, getting stuff done. John and George didn't really care for this at all. George was very upset, and at one point in time, early on in the sessions, after about a week, he quit, and he was away for about a week. While he was away, he went to see Ray Charles, and in Ray Charles' band was Billy Preston. We'll hear more about that in a little bit. Ringo was relatively quiet, but he wasn't enjoying himself either. He's very easy to get along with, very amicable. When George did come back to the band, they went back to Abbey Road Studios where they felt more at home. It was a bit nicer. It took a little while for them to get the studio to the way they wanted it. Magic Alex Martis was a guy who was employed by Apple Records, who was the electronics guy, who wasn't especially qualified to be an electronics guy. You'll hear about that. Now, when they were recording Let It Be, they wanted to get back to a more old, familiar sound that they had been used to in the early days, which was just stripped down rock and roll with no overdubs. From Revolver on, there was nothing but strange and unusual noises, and they wanted to kind of pull back and get back to basics. They had become kind of dependent on more sounds than just the guitar, bass, drums lineup, and they really wanted the piano, but they would be breaking their self-imposed rules. As I said before, while George quit, he went and saw Ray Charles. In Ray Charles' band at the time was a young keyboardist by the name of Billy Preston. Now, the Beatles had met him, Billy Preston, earlier in the decade, 1962, in Hamburg, Germany. Little Richard was on the same bill as the Beatles, and they were opening for him, and Billy Preston was in the band, and they got to be good friends with him. George and Billy had talked in the January 1969 Ray Charles show, which must have been fantastic. George was telling Billy about what was going on and how it wasn't much fun, and he invited him to hang out in the studios. Now, about a year earlier, Eric Clapton joined the White Album sessions to record the guitar solo on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and when he was there, George had noticed that the Beatles were on a little bit better behavior, and they also played a little bit better because a guy like Billy Preston, who had played with Little Richard and Ray Charles, who were huge heroes of the Beatles, he was someone that intimidated the Beatles a little bit. Well, Billy was also a really nice fellow, and he folded in quickly with the band. He took directions well, but he also would contribute his own ideas. He really saved the Let It Be album and the sessions. It was they wouldn't have been much if it wasn't for Billy Preston. They would have been okay, but they wouldn't have been as great as they are. In your audio, you're also going to hear about some of the scraps of songs that they had laying around. You'll hear a lot about these later. Polythene Pam, She Came Through the Bathroom Window. A bunch of other songs would wind up on the Abbey Road album. A bunch of others, and you'll also hear about these, would wind up on solo albums. A slightly altered version of Jealous Guy, Every Night, Junk, All Things Must Pass. Lots of songs that wound up being solo Beatles songs. Easily could have been Beatles songs. And with that, I'm going to say so long for another one here at Beatle U. Everyone have a pleasant day, pleasant evening, pleasant tomorrow, and pleasant right now. Thank you so much. I'm Professor Moptop.